Welcome back to They Did What? Your source of the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go with them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today I'm going to go over a story titled, My Cautionary Tale of Opening My Marriage and Exploding in My Face. And a shout out to AM for sending in this story. And guys, this story is all about a guy, like it says, who's sharing a cautionary tale of how open marriages don't work. And this is all about his ex-wife, who he obviously got rid of after she wanted the open marriage, and obviously things went pretty bad real quick. And what's interesting about the story is, guys, and that it's going to really make the point. This guy, through his description, and I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, he's being honest here, is what many women consider to be a catch. He describes himself as he was always popular with the ladies growing up, good-looking guy, makes good money as a lawyer, all these things that are usually on the checklist, and still she wanted to step out of the marriage. And so this goes to show you, a guy can do all these things, it doesn't matter. But of course, also the lesson that they bring up the open marriage, end it. I can't stress that enough, end it right then and there, because it ain't going to go well. Or how much a guy tries to be patient with her or give her what she wants and stuff like that, it's just a disaster. And overwhelmingly, they already have a guy lined up and planned out, ready to go, or they're sleeping with him. But you'll see in the end, this guy will make it out all right, and her, well, you'll see. So it starts off, says here, objectively, I, a 37-year-old male, am a good-looking guy, funny, smart, and make a great living. And I do have an above-average you-know-what. Really, dude, you had to include that? In short, I've never had a problem with the ladies. I first had you-know-what when I was young, and I was hooked. I loved it and had a lot of that throughout high school and college. Some of these encounters were with girlfriends, some were with official friends with benefits, and some were just casual encounters. Okay, stud. Well, anyhow, he's making the point. Popular with the ladies. And I might add, this also is going to show you that a guy can be like that and he can pair bond. But when a woman is like this, riding the carousel, they can't. We're wired differently. Well, I went to law school, and there wasn't much time for extracurriculars, although I did have a few hookups with classmates. I think mostly to blow off steam, nothing serious. In my second year of law school, I met my now ex-wife in school, and I was immediately smitten. She was tall, blonde, and fit, beautiful face, and smart. She came from a much, much more strict religious background, and at 23 years old, she was still a virgin. Well, I guess this dude would know, especially after they had a roll in the hay for the first time, but I'm willing to bet you other parts of her were not a virgin. We started dating, and things got serious quite quick. I was her first just for about everything beyond kissing. We got married the year after we graduated law school. Smack! Are you nuts? They got together. They started dating the second year of law school. Law school's 3 years. So 2 years later, they got married. Bad idea. She went to work for a big law firm in a nearby city, and I stayed local in the smaller office. Well, fast forward 10 years, and things were going really well. So you think, brother. We both became junior partners. Money was not an issue. We connected daily. I don't mean we discussed family matters daily. I mean we really had deep and meaningful discussions about us, what we wanted in life, our worldviews, and we aligned on just about everything. Our sex life was objectively great. Sex 3 to 4 times per week, and that was enthusiastic, and we added spices at various times. I felt like we connected. So all that after 10 years of marriage, this sounds pretty darn good for just 2 people married 10 years. They don't have any kids. They obviously got good money. They could probably travel a lot, have fun. He's thinking, hey, what could go wrong? Well, you're about to see. One night we were talking about my past, which she brought up, and she stated that she was jealous I had so much more experience and she had not. I explained that it was fun, but ultimately all those encounters ended up being meaningless, and they were just failed trial runs, and that I really loved being married to her. See? He had all that fun. He was basically a man, W-H-O-R-E. And he's admitting, looking back, really wasn't that big a deal after a while. I mean, let's be honest. You see one pair of tits, you've seen them all. Yes, small, large, and all that. But the point is, eventually it gets kind of redundant. And he can move on. He can pair bond with her. Doesn't work that way for them. I've never cheated, and at this point, I absolutely had no desire to be with anybody else. I was content. Well, a week later, she brought this up again, and she stated she really felt like she had missed out. This is a problem. I reassured her she didn't miss out on anything, but a few weeks later, she brought it up again. At this point, I could see this was not going to go away easily. I asked her what she proposed to ease her angst, and she asked for a, wait for it, open marriage. And this is when he should say goodbye. Shit, he's a lawyer. He's going to obviously know somebody that knows somebody that's a divorce attorney. But she's a lawyer too. That ain't going to be fun. And by the way, guys, this really shatters the whole idea that, hey, you get a girl as a virgin, you're home free. Wrong. Not in today's world. Initially, I was really surprised and a little bit shocked, but she continued with her proposal, which she clearly had been working on for some time. Who cares how long she's been working it? Dude, if she wants to go F other dudes, she doesn't love you. There would be rules and boundaries, and this wasn't polyamory and about feelings and relationships. It was just about SCX. I think it's just about SCX. I think it's about the excitement and the butterflies and all that shit and validation, keyword validation. I asked her how she knew that she could separate SCX from emotions since she had only slept with me. She assured me that she was a big girl who could do this, not to worry. Big girl, more like she's a big bitch. Why are you having this conversation? End it with her. And I believe she could separate emotions and the loving because she doesn't have a heart. Well, I think my ego got the best of me, and I started thinking about how many women I'd slept with and how I had all the experiences and how I had been in so many more situations, including a couple three-ways, and how jealousy had never been an issue. I could guide her through the experiences. Note, I've been in a couple three-somethings, blah, 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 but I've been the third. Really, dude, you're going to help guide her? Are you shitting me? She went dick hunting on some apps and quickly settled on a guy who we both went out to meet for drinks. Smack! Now you're going, you're going approving this, and you're going to go and be like, hi, this is the guy who's going to bang my wife. Some people may say, well, if he's doing this, at least he can see who's doing it. Yeah, no thanks. This is the part that I don't agree with wholeheartedly, but we'll get to the better part soon. Well, he was very attractive, fit, smart, and funny. He had a recent STI test, and after we left, we talked about it, and she was a go, so I was a go. Smack, jackass. The rules were we'd both always be there together, protection with him at all times, no kissing, either one of us could stop at any time, just sex and no feelings. And there'd be a debriefing to discuss any issues afterwards. Yeah, let's see how this goes. Well, we met him at a hotel, we had some drinks at the bar, and my wife was a little loopy, but nothing she didn't do on her usual Saturday night. We got to the room and we started undressing, and he was very large. I'm well above average, but he was well above me. Okay, it is what it is. Forge ahead. From the start, it takes a turn for the worse because she's basically ignoring me and entirely focusing on him. What'd you expect, man? She's like a kid at the fucking candy shop. She's like somebody that has been on a deserted island, starving, and finally has been rescued and gobbling down all the food in sight. Not to mention, this guy's hung like a silverback gorilla. What do you think's going to happen here? And you're just sitting there fucking, handing out mints? She looked like a kid unwrapping her favorite toy at Christmas with a look of shock and awe on her face. This didn't make me feel good to start. She gives him head to get him aroused, and they almost immediately started having you-know-what, even if I'm not there. How the fuck can this guy be in the same room doing this? Smack, smack, smack. But, anyhow. Well, she's a missionary, and within 2 minutes, she lifts her head up while staring into his eyes and pulls him in and begins kissing him. I thought that was against the rules. No getting that's intimate. Hookers aren't going to kiss they should be kissing their johns, but still. This breaks one of the rules completely, and in retrospect, probably two, because clearly she has feelings for this guy. Probably because she knows this guy. It's not an accident you just happened to meet Tyrone here. She looked really into what was going on, and she came several times. At one point, I had just been watching. I'm not into the cuck thing at all, but I felt humiliated like one. But I figured she was probably just nervous. Yeah, because she's behaving so nervous. She's behaving like she's quite well-versed in this whole thing with this guy. Well, this was the equivalent of her just jumping off the high dive board, and she was probably overwhelmed, and it was too much to focus on me, a new guy. Smack! You're making excuses for her. This was planned out. Well, they finish after 90 minutes, and I'm not in the mood at this point. 90 minutes. God damn. I approach her and she states, without looking at me at the time, that she's just too sore and too spent to continue with me. I was actually walking over to tell her to shower so we could leave. She played you like a fool, dude. Don't leave yet, guys. I know you feel inclined to. I can't blame you, but it'll end better. While we leave, we debrief, and I share my concerns about her basically being ignored and her breaking the rule of kissing. She stated that she was sorry. The kissing just happened in the moment. It was just too much to focus on me and him at the same time. And she said she was really sorry she never engaged with me, but that he was really large, and she didn't realize how that would affect her down there. Well, it's like probably sticking a baseball bat through a keyhole, and she was loving every minute of it. And oh yeah, she could service her husband here. She didn't want to. We had no plans to see him again. Oh yeah? Let's see about that. I really hoped that this would get whatever she wanted out of her system and that our lives would go on. No, it's not, dude. Well, later that week, they met up again without me. Imagine that. She was supposed to be at a work dinner in the city, but her phone kept showing her across the street at a hotel. I initially didn't think much of this, since phone locations can easily be 100 feet off, but I put two and two together later after I found more evidence, and she started going out for various reasons, and her phone always seemed to be near the restaurant, but not quite in it. Guarantee you, this guy she met ahead of time, and it started the whole thing about the open marriage, open relationship thing, and this guy fell for it. And remember, guys, if he's being accurate in his description of himself, he's arguably a catch, what women want, and still she wants to do this to cheat on him. I snooped up her phone and it told me everything I needed to know, or what I didn't want to know. She immediately started having unprotected you-know-what with him, and he started finishing inside her. She's on birth control, but this was an absolute no-no for me. Her texts with him were really graphic and nasty in a way that I had to only occasionally experience in our marriage. She did things with him she never did with me. Shocker. And they quickly developed a BDSM thing well beyond my pleasure-dom dynamic with her. It was really hard to read those texts, and it was especially hard to see her come home and pretend like nothing happened that day. How long was this going on before he finally, She is an excellent liar in a way that I would have never guessed she'd be capable of with me. Dude, she's a fucking lawyer and hired a top law firm out of law school. Obviously, she's... Well... You lawyers out there know what I'm talking about. When I told her I knew what I knew, she did all the things cheaters do to gaslight the betrayed. I filed the divorce within a few weeks, figuring she was in love with this guy. Thank the Lord. Now you would have saved yourself a whole lot of pain and time and humiliation, and if you would have done this the second she told you she wanted to do this in the first place. It always leads to that place. The divorce has been settled for 2 years now, and she didn't stay with that guy for very long. He probably tossed her to the side of the road. It was probably no fun for him anymore when she got divorced. I heard through the grapevine she did continue to sleep around a lot, and that she's been dating a guy in an open relationship for about a year now. Apparently she loves the lifestyle, and she's all about it now. Yeah, until she wants to finally settle down and no guy wants her. I don't know if the marriage was going to fall apart anyway, but clearly I was a content schmuck while she felt something was missing when she brought up opening it up. I really regret making it so easy for her. I think that was all the hubris on my part, sensing that there wasn't much I could do to stop her new obsession with sleeping with other men, and so I thought the next best thing would be to try and help her guide her and keep our marriage intact. Smack! No, it's not going to work that way. No. And look what happened. Nope, it blew up on the first guy she had you-know-what with, and what must have been a record at the time. Keep using the word blow. Interesting choice of words. Well, fast forward in time, I am now happily remarried in a monogamous relationship with a great woman who hasn't expressed any interest in having sex with others, and we're happy. That quickly, dude? That's a bit rushed, my friend. Okay, good luck. This is just a cautionary tale for people who think they can open their marriage and control their partner's emotion and the outcome when sex is involved. Sex and the fallout can be sloppy. Sloppy? Really? Use that word? I suspect I'll take a beating on here for my being naive and stupid, but for whatever reason, it seemed to make the sense at the time. And there you go. I'm going to review comments in a moment, but holy crap. So, again, guys, they bring it up in the marriage, walk out, or relationship if you're not married, because this is what's going to happen, and it's not going to go well. And I bet you one day she's going to call him up, hoping this, not whether he's married or not, she's going to call him hoping she has a second chance, because she figured, hey, this dumb asshole let me have a freaking open marriage, maybe he'll take me back. Because one day eventually she'll get tired of it. Or at least she'll want to at least have a husband. Now some comments here. One guy says, LOL, are you sure you are lawyers? And apparently good ones at that. You both made very shitty arguments and agreed on a mutually devastating solution. Another guy says, the marriage was already over when she started feeling like that and considering it. You didn't make it easy on her, and you made it easy on yourself. You found out quickly, and you got to the end of the marriage on your own terms. No, he did not make it easy on himself. He took a little while to get to that point. She could have ended up cheating. You could have ended up with an STD. Who knows? She could have ended up pregnant because birth control still fails. All these situations are so much more messy and complicated. I'm really sorry for your experience. It's not your fault. Right now, she's still on the high. But every high comes down at some point. When she starts slowing down and starting to want to settle down, that's when it will hit her. It will hit her. That's a guarantee. And she'll realize how much she messed out and lost with this guy. Another guy says here, she'll settle down eventually and realize what she threw away. Even if she's into the open relationship life right now, eventually it will hit that she tossed a strong relationship for a few random hookups when the need for stability hits, and hit it will. What's done is done, unfortunately, but at least you now have a new relationship with a good partner. The first marriage was just another trial for this one. I'm sorry you had to go through all that. Well, there you go, guys. I know it wasn't the perfect story that you usually used to, but the point is, this doesn't work out, and I'm waiting for a part 2 to this. It could be a year or 2 years from now where, guess what, she's trying to reach out, or she's pregnant, or who the hell knows. So, don't do it, guys. Don't go along with it. End of fucking story. Alright, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And, guys, if you find a really good story I'm going to cover, send it my way, strongsuccessfulmail@gmail.com. And if it's a good one, I'll definitely cover it. And be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.